Eileo guys, and welcome back. So for today's account review, this is the account of I asked to not be named. They are a very good friend and very awesome person, so shout out to I for letting me take a look at their account. But anyways, my boys, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so I have checked out your account. I checked out your account. Your name's I. You get it? You get it? Not really funny, is it? But yeah, I checked out your account, and your Mon gem situation is perfectly fine. The main issue, which you've already addressed when you messaged me, was golems. Your Mons lack better gems than what they should have, or what they should have, just due to the fact that you don't have a really structured team for any of the other golems. So let's go over here and slide on over and see what kind of teams we can get made for you. Alright, so I'm assuming this is your B8 team. Hopefully your time is good to go in B8. If your Monas can one-shot the waves, perfectly fine. Me personally, I always like to get level 60. I like to get books if books are available, and of course the best gems for these girls. But if they're one-shotting the waves, that's perfectly fine for now if you want to keep them like that. But I do suggest in the future, just get them to 60 and get some books on them if you have the time, just to ensure that the run will be as speedily as possible. But your B8 team, perfectly fine. I have 155%, no complaints about that. Let's move over here to B7 though. So B7, we need some wood mons. And you do have Draka. Now, I'm not sure if you've tried Draka yet, but Draka could in theory survive, and I do believe dudes have actually used him there. But it looks like you have a Wukong, a Boltwing, another Odin, but you don't want it. There's no point of having two wood Odins when you already have one. What is Shaw's skills? Battle Rush and Defense? That's perfectly fine. He could be another, he's essentially like the Nat 5 version of Banshee. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Let's see what else you got over here. I would still say try Draka and see if he can survive. He may not. I never tried it myself, but I do believe people have actually tried and succeeded with that. But I do know that yours is only Evo 2, which is kind of a bummer. But hopefully you can get him to Evo 3 in the future. If you don't want to try that, Arthur should be fine. I wouldn't put in Wukong because you already have someone that can debuff. And I'm not a big fan of Boltwing either. Honestly, really not a big fan of Boltwing. So it's up to you if you want to use Boltwing, but let's see if you have anything else that we could possibly put in there. Sura, you could put Miho in there for the time being. I mean, you could still use her, of course, in Dragons, but you could put her in there for the time being just to have something to clear with if you don't want to use Boltwing, which I personally don't suggest. And Sun Wukong, his problem is him being a double debuffer. He may mess up the AI with his defense down on his 3-star skill. 5-star skill isn't really the problem, it's the 3-star skill. But you don't have any Dark Mons. Like, if you could get a Dark Mona, you're good to go. If you can get a Dark Mona, you don't need to have Miho in there. You can take Arthur out, you can take whoever you want out. I would personally keep Odin because you've already invested in her, and Xiao Wujing because you've already invested in him. But you could slide in a Dark Mona here and be perfectly done. This type of setup is the same thing that you can do for dragons as well. Maybe lower dragons, but as long as you go in there and your teams are level 60, preferably Evo 2 minimum, and after you farm golems for probably about maybe a couple months, 2 to 3 months, depending on how much you play, you should have a solid overall team with some good gems on them. They don't have to be pristine, but they do need to be good if you want to clear that content out reliably. But for something like this, you'd be perfectly fine with using this. What was Wood Arthur's skill though? Okay, so he can stun. He's essentially just like Miho, but he has HP siphon. So actually, you could do something like this, and if you absolutely need it, this is for dragons though. This is for dragons. What I said before was for B7 itself. But if you need a healer, feel free to maybe slide in Dark Siren because of dominance, or you could try sliding in Water Siren. I mean, there's no wrong way to go about this for dragons. If you don't have enough DPS to clear it, bring in a healer. Preferably you want someone with attack up, so maybe you can even bring in Wood Grab Bag, since Wood Grab Bag should be around at the time of this video, who also comes in with stat but also comes in with attack up, which would be great for nuking the dragon at the end. But those are just my suggestions for maybe a potential B7/dragons team. That should work for lower level dragons, but once you go up, if you don't have the gems or the DPS to clear it safely, feel free to swap one of your members out and use a healer instead. Next up for B9, which is the fire. You have Fire Draka. Congratulations, we're done. B9's over. B9's over. B9's done. You could bring in Fire Sea Star as well. Here, once again, a Dark Mona would be great just as a wave clearer because you can just bring her anywhere. Anywhere. Miho's not going to be really needed. Indra has what? Elemental Edge? If he's all that you have, there's no reason not to use him. If that's literally all that you have, there's 100% no reason not to use him. See if there's any other prospecting members. If you could get a Dark Mona in here, like I said before, that would be great. Any Fire Mons? You could raise Fire Addis. Would it be worth it? I guess, but it's predominantly going to only be used for B9 unless you want to throw him in like a clan versus clan team. But really, if you can get a Dark Mona, I would say just get a Dark Mona. That way you don't have to invest in him if you don't want to. But if you want to use him, feel free to do it. But I would just get a Dark Mona. Have Dark Mona fill this slot as another wave clearer. Her and Draka should be more than enough to clear out B9 for you. And once again, this same thing could be applied to dragons. Of course, you got to bring in Draka. Sea Star is a good staple there too. Indra, if that's all that you have, bring him. If not, slide in a Dark Mona as well. And it's the same thing for the B7 setup. If you can go in with full DPS, perfectly fine. You're good to go, man. You are. Let me make sure this is in the camera. You are good to go, dude. But if you're dying, especially on the higher up dragons, feel free to bring in a healer. I noticed that you have Baby Shark so you don't need to worry about actually trying to maybe bring in Wood Grab Bag if you don't want Wood Grab Bag. So you can actually throw that suggestion out of the window if you don't want Wood Grab Bag. Just make sure your Shark is at least 50, 60 and booked up preferably, just to be more reliable in the run, and you should be good to go for B9 as well, and of course dragons. But remember, if you don't have the DPS to clear it, feel free to bring in a healer, because a cleared run is way better than a failed run because you try to YOLO it. Just saying, unless you want to waste its sigils and waste some gems reviving on lower level dragons, that's up to you, my boy. But next up here we have a potential B10 team. So this could be a little bit tricky. You do have Draka. He, she, it is only Evo 2. Not a big deal. Can still be used as a wave clearer. Again, I would probably try and slide in your Dark Mona right now if you're trying to do B10 as soon as possible, just as another wave clearer. And then we're going to need 2 sappers for you is what I would recommend. 2 sappers. So let's see if you have any sappers at all. You do have Yuki. I'm not a big fan of Yuki, but she is 150% usable. Just because I'm not a fan does not make her not viable. See if you have anything else. You have like a Water Miho. I know people don't like Water Miho, but what you have to understand is if that's all that you have, there's nothing wrong with that being all that you have. There's nothing wrong with that. So you could run in with Yuki, but Water Miho is of course farmable. So my suggestion to you is try and pick up a Dark Mona this month, and also pick up 2 Water Mihos. You may get lucky during Heroes Fest or Clan vs Clan and pull maybe a Fire Purse or a Water Artemis, which is perfectly fine for replacing these 2. Even a Wood Hohenheim would be great, but I would say at least 2 sappers preferably, and right now 2 wave clearers, because you have Draka, and if you bring in Mona, that's gonna defeat the purpose of you having a Nike. So you wouldn't have a Nike as long as your gems are good to go, which I have confidence in you that your gems will be good to go from what I've seen for B10. So 2 wave clearers and 2 sappers is what I personally would recommend for you at this moment in time. You just really need to pull more Nat 4s and Nat 5s if possible, but you do have some gold, so it might take another month or 2, but you should be rolling as far as that is concerned. And now also for the light and dark dragons, the real key there is just Mons that can pretty much hit hard. That's the real key there. So once again, Fire Jacket would definitely be useful. Once again, a Dark Mona would definitely be useful, and then preferably a Mon that can do defense down quite quickly. If you want, you can run in with Xiao Wujing and have him get his defense down off quick with that battle rush, which would also be very, very helpful for dragons if you save it to the very end. But if you don't want to use him, I mean, there's really not too much to choose from, in my opinion, but you should be able to get through that with just pure DPS, at least for the lower ones. Now for the higher ones, it is going to get a bit more tricky, but it is still possible. Once again, there's nothing wrong with being a Fire Jacket in there or a Dark Mona, but I would also prefer a single target unit, which I did see a Dark Sura over here. He doesn't have a square slot, so you may need to run someone that has a crit lead for him just to get him to max crit, which I wouldn't go in there unless he has pretty much 80-85% crit before you bring in the crit lead. But single target is going to be very helpful there too for dragons. At this point in time, am I suggesting dragons B10? No, I'm not suggesting any of that, but I would say at least you should at least be able to get with the RGBs of dragons. What is it, B6, 7, 8 maybe? I don't know. I don't remember specifically. Bulby could work there too, but she doesn't really bring too much to the table in terms of damage. I mean, she does do her exposed weakness, but in terms of damage, she doesn't really bring too much to the table. What was Sparket's skills? He has that and stun. You could actually bring him in there too if you need it, if you wanted to CC instead. But I would say honestly, with Draka and Xiao Wujing being able to get defense down off reliably, you should be fine DPSing through that. So just bring in another Mon. I would prefer Dark Mona if you can get Dark Mona, or any Mon that you have that has Hunter on them. Like Fire Leo would be great. Wood Anu, what is it? Water Amayoji. Any Mon with freaking Hunter. That way they can nuke. That is the main goal here. Even Dark Gatito. Obviously don't have Dark Gatito, but like I said before, get Dark Mona. Just get Dark Mona. Let's go over here to the Tower of Chaos. So for your Tower of Chaos, I would recommend not this team. This team isn't going to do you any good. She does have Seal, which can be very, very helpful. And then you can run your Fire C-Star for the crit lead if needed. But you do have Draka. I would say Draka, you can keep C-Star in there for the crit lead if you want. Dark Mona, like I'm saying get Dark Mona. Now is the time. Get a Dark Mona as another wave clearer for your Draka, because Draka may need backup with it only being Evo 2. And then I would suggest a Mon that can do CC. So you could bring in Arthur and see how well he does with CCing. You could also take out C-Star if you want and run Dark Mona, Draka, Arthur, and then another Mon that can CC like Water Sura, or you have Dark Sparket over here. The only issues I see with these guys though is that it takes them a little bit of time to build up their SP in order to do their moves. But if you can get to the point where they're built and they can get their SP bar off reliably, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about with 2 CCers and 2 wave clearers. I mean, as long as they're, I would suggest level 60 Evo 2 with decent gems, decent as in 4, 5, 6-star gems that are plus 12, you should be perfectly fine for clearing out Tower of Chaos, because it's mainly wave clearing / just CC. You're done. Congratulations. It's over. It's over. Like, I wouldn't be surprised after this video, after you get some decent gems in your mons, that you can clear out Tower of Chaos by the end of this month. And then also your other suggestion was PvP orientated. Now we all know that I'm not a PvP expert because I'm just casual boy Eileo, and I will definitely stand by that. But in terms of your defense, Squirrels has to go. Squirrels ain't gonna do you no good. Water Siren is gonna do you no good. Light Victoria is gonna do you no good. Wood Odin, you can keep her in there. I know the Fire Draka is the Fire Draka meta, but it is what it is. Maybe pull out your Dark Nightmare and show her off to people. Maybe that will help scare them off. I do know Valk is another viable unit as well. Dark Spark, it could also be quite annoying. Light Jean is basically like what, the HP aggressor version of Light Nike without a super evolution, and I mean she's a good wall, so she could be annoying too with some proper resist on her. What was Light Cupid's moves? He's defense aggressor with Zeal. Looks like it's pretty much it at the moment. I mean, you have Dark Sura, but he's more of a nuker than a defender in my opinion. But I'm not a PvP expert at all. So you may be able to run something like this. Is it optimal? No. If you guys are watching this video, feel free to suggest something else. But I would do something like this, at least for the time being, because you don't have too much to choose from. I would love it if you could somehow get maybe another Watermon or another 2 Watermons in there, even if it's a Water Wild Fang or a Water Shiva, but that's just amount of pulling stuff out. I mean, yeah, that just amounts to you pulling stuff out. But something like that should work. I would definitely try to keep her out though. I know it's special season, but when special season is over, keep her out. That way, hopefully she can get her seal off. But it's okay if you have her like that. Again, I'm not a PvP expert, so I'm gonna exit out of there. And for offense, of course, that changes with whatever team that you're fighting. But again, I would probably bring in Draka, because Draka is very, very helpful and very, very nice to have on a team. Let's see what else you're running with. Dark Sora would be good, but he's only single target. So you could also run maybe the CC route as well. So you could actually slide in maybe Dark Spark it for CC, but he's more fit in my opinion, at least for the defensive side and not the offensive side. But honestly, I don't feel comfortable giving you any suggestions. I'm too much of a wimp, dude. Eileo confirmed for Wimp 2020. Honestly, not sure about that. I would prefer Mons if possible that have shock. And that's pretty much it. If you don't want to use Draka, that's perfectly fine. But I don't find healers, especially when you're attacking, to be very, very efficient. I want Mons that can either CC, shock, or CC, shock, and hit like a truck. That's pretty much all I want. And also having a Mon that can do SP Siphon like Rudolph is definitely nice to have as well. That way annoying enemies can't get their SP Siphon off. She has SP Siphon, right? Okay, yeah. And she does have stun too. I mean, if that's all that you have, that's all that you have. But SP Siphoners are very, very useful as well. I'm sorry that I can't really give you a good suggestion in terms of offense for PvP because I mean, there's not much for me to say. I don't want to say something that I don't understand, which is unprofessional, because you guys do know that this is professional, but it is unlicensed. But that's pretty much it for this review. I definitely hope this helped you out. I appreciate you contacting me for getting help with your account, and I mean, your account's in good standing. It's just a matter of you pulling some more Nat 4s and Nat 5s would be my biggest suggestion to you. Of course, getting them to 60 is another story, but if you take anything away from this video, if you guys don't have a Dark Mona and you need a wave clearer because you weren't able to get your Fire Draka to Evo 2 or Evo 3, now is the time. Now is the time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.